An old steamship in poor mechanical condition. This is part 1. The hull was not as bad as with the fishing boat, but it was still in need of some attention. The only original part I used internally was the gas burner. The copper boiler failed the hydraulic test, and the old steam engine was so badly worn it needed complete replacement. This is a condensed, edited version of the series from 2017 called Refurbishing a Vintage Model Steamboat. If you require more information on how to do this, please consider watching the full-length episodes. This old steamboat has stood idle for many years, and it's sustained some damage, but the basic structure is very interesting. It's completely made out of steel plates soldered together. It's quite something, and it must have taken a lot of hours to solder these individually shaped steel plates using soft solder over a wooden former. The original steam engine fitted was a non-reversing Stuart 1010. I'm going to fit a reversing version of a Stuart 1010. The first and most important thing I'm going to do is fit a new boiler. This one was built by Chris Lyle of SBM Boilers, and his contact details are on screen at the moment. Very nicely made. This will replace the original old boiler that was in the boat. This one is about 4 inches longer, so we'll have a greater steaming capacity too, and it comes with a hydraulic test certificate. On a job like this I would always replace the boiler. It's just not worth the risk of messing about with a boiler that could be 50 or 60 years old. This boiler is 3.5 inches in diameter, and one minor problem I had was the flue tube was slightly too long because I need to put a superheater in the end of the flue tube. This was a very simple job and just involved trimming a bit off the end of the flue tube and making a brass insert. Taking a quick look at the backhead fittings, on the left is the water gauge, on the right is the clack valve, and in the centre will be the pressure gauge siphon. But not the one that I'm showing here. This is just to illustrate what you would normally fit. I'm going to fit a thing like this. This is a piece of old scrap copper tubing. I'm going to make a much better version of it. This will support the pressure gauge and allow it to face upwards, so you'll be able to see what the current pressure in the boiler is by just having a look through the top hatch of the boat. What I'm about to do now is mark out the front of the flue tube, to drill and tap, to take a couple of bolts to hold the brass plug in place. Over now to the details of the power plant. This is the original 1010 I removed from the boat. This is what I'm going to replace it with. Regular viewers to my channel may recognise this engine. This is one of the late Bernard Walker's engines. Bernard Walker was a friend of mine and a superb engineer, and the reversing gear I'm going to adapt for radio control. It's a great combination really, a superbly made model boat engine for an equally superbly built model boat. This part is the original chimney extension from the boat. All I had to do with it is remachine the brass part so it fits perfectly into the flue of the new boiler. Once everything's in place, I will make a special pipe that connects the exhaust of the engine to the pipe up the chimney. Everything in this model boat is going to be quite a tight fit, so I'm going to find a suitable place for the displacement lubricator to make it an easy job to empty and refill it. The good thing is there's plenty of room around the front of the boiler for the burner. That needs a lot of air. But in the engine compartment you can see how close it is to the boiler itself. As you can see from this video, it's pretty tight in the area of the engine. Particularly the connection to the propeller shaft. This is no good at all. In fact, it's not really a propeller shaft, it just comes in from the outside and you fasten it to the engine. This would leak badly. I'm going to put a proper shaft tube in. This piece of brass is going to form the basis of a superheater. A superheater or steam dryer in a gas-fired boiler fits in the flue tube, and its purpose is to reheat the wet steam that's coming from the boiler. It's called wet steam because it basically is. As soon as it leaves the boiler, it starts to condense. And by putting a superheater in the circuit, you will get much better economy of steam for your engine. Steam is not to be confused with the white stuff that comes out of the chimney of steam engines and steam locomotives. That is just water vapour. Real steam is an invisible gas, and the hotter you can get it, the better it is. That is, providing that you have an engine that will deal with this hot steam, and a Stuart Model's 1010 will do that as it's a cast iron engine. A great degree of superheat is not recommended for brass engines. While I've been talking about superheaters, on screen I've been showing the construction of the superheater that I'm making, and now it's time to stick it all together. I use the term stick loosely. I'm going to silver solder it. Currently I'm using Easy Flow number 2 flux because I have a lot of that, and the silver solder that I'm using is called Silver Flow 55, as Easy Flow number 2 silver solder is now discontinued. The first thing I've done wrong, and once again this is on purpose, is to use too much flux, and when the blast of the blowtorch hits it, it goes everywhere, and wherever the flux is, the silver solder will stick. You do need lots of heat. I'm going to put a blob on like that, can you see? For a moment it was just a blob on the work because it had not reached the correct temperature, and when the work reached the correct temperature, the silver solder flashed around the joint. The next thing to do is to let the work thoroughly cool before placing it in the acid pickle bath. Never ever quench any of the work you're doing in an acid pickle bath when it's very hot. I left the superheater in the pickle bath for about an hour, and then I cleaned it up on the polishing spindle, and now it looks like this, very shiny. Well, not the copper part, I didn't bother with that. So now I can put the rest of my wife back in the pickle bath and carry on with the job. To get the wet steam in and the superheated steam out of the superheater, I'm going to use removable unions. This is always a good idea, because if you chew up the thread for any reason, you can remove it easily and fit a new part. Not forgetting, of course, the Loctite 542 and a nice copper washer on each one. When tightening these pieces in place, once again don't be too heavy-handed. It is not a car cylinder head. You do not need a torque wrench for this. I would start it off with a socket, like you see here, and then just gently nip it up with my trusty adjustable spanner. And for the viewer who wrote in asking which type of adjustable spanner do I use, it is a Bahco, B-A-H-C-O, and I've had it for about 35 years at a guess. It's a really good thing. And here is the Bahco adjustable spanner in action. It saves me a lot of time rummaging through the drawer for little spanners. And that is it for this first episode. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.